Hey guys, wInevitable here with another guide. This is going to center around Uther, the melee support hero from the WarCraft universe. You can see I'm rocking that medic skin, the StarCraft skin here on the WarCraft hero. Pretty cool dude. He has a nice little dance animation. He's a lot of fun, probably the top support in the game currently. Good amount of CC, ton of hit points, the most hit points and the highest health regen of any of these supports. Actually has more hit points than Anubarak, one of the warrior heroes. So he is a bit of a warrior himself, and of course because he is melee, you'll oftentimes be at the front of the fight. But you do have the heals. He has 2 heals, and he has, with the heroic, we're going to take 2 stuns, 2 CCs. A lot of fun to play. Just be cognizant of the fact that you do have a lot of hit points, but you are melee, so you might be exposed in the front of the battle sometimes. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the abilities here on Uther. His Q, Holy Light. You can see the radius, quite a large radius. 90 mana, 12-second cooldown. Okay, it's big mana cost, big cooldown. It heals for 175. It's a huge chunk of change that is going to increase at every level. This is the biggest amount of healing. It is a targeted spell. You simply click on a hero or minion or mercenary to heal them with this. W is his second heal, Holy Radiance. Mana cost 65, same cooldown, 12 seconds. You'll heal allies in a line for 100 health and dealing 65 damage. So it's a little bit more than half damage. You can use this to heal your minion wave and damage the enemy minion wave at the same time. It shoots in a line just like that. Now, it's got a little bit of healing. It heals yourself, and it heals other heroes and minions, so you can heal multiple people with this. That is the plus side. It's not as much, of course. It's only 100 health versus 175, so it's about half the healing of Holy Light, but you can get multiple people with it and heal yourself. E is his stun, his basic ability stun, the Hammer of Justice. The lowest mana and cooldown with 40 mana cost and an 8-second cooldown. It deals 48 damage, so it's a little bit of damage, not a ton. You can see just a little bit less than the W would deal to a single target, and it stuns them for 1 second, and that's the range right there. It doesn't have to be right next to you. You can be, was it about an inch? A little bit more than an inch on your screen away from the enemy to land that stun. And then his trait, we'll show this off too in a minute. It is called Eternal Devotion. Let's see if he has, does he have a taunt? He does have a taunt. Alright. Grow a backbone, he said. Alright, Eternal Devotion. He is part of Team Ghost with Tyrael. Upon dying, you become an invulnerable spirit for 10 seconds. It's weird, earlier I had this bugged out to 3 seconds, so I'm glad. It must have been a bug in try mode, but it is 10 seconds. Your abilities and basic attacks do 50% healing and damage, and they work on cooldown. So your basic abilities, the Q, W, and E, will all reset when you die. They won't cost any mana, but they'll be on cooldown, so you'll be able to effectively cast, 1 Q, 1 W, and you can get possibly 2 stuns because it's 10 seconds in Ghost form. If you land a stun right out of the gate, you're going to be able to get another stun before your Ghost blows up, after 10 seconds. So, remember that when you die, you can still attack people. You can walk through buildings. You can walk through walls. You can walk through terrain. You can heal your teammates. And you can land stuns and possibly, potentially kill the enemy. So it's not always a bad thing if you die early on in a fight, especially after you've used your Q, W, and E. If you've already used them once and then, you don't want to just run in suicide and die, but, it's okay because then you get a free set of heals. So, sometimes dying isn't such a bad thing as Uther. But not needlessly, of course, is what I'm trying to say. Now, you can see his attack is kind of low. It's 38. It only scales 7 per level, so it's not going to be a ton of damage. Late game, it really scales down. But like I said, hit points 890 and 500, and it's going to go up if we level up here. You can see the jump right there. Quite a bit. He's got the most health, like I said, of any support. His attack's not so much. Not so good. So let's go ahead and we'll show off the 2 heroics. We'll show off the one that we're not going to pick and the one that then we'll go into the full build and show off the other one. So we'll talk about these talents in a second. On level 10, he's got these 2 heroics, Divine Shield and Divine Storm. Shield is a niche pick. It's really comp dependent. You don't see this a whole lot. Kind of waiting for someone to really explode into the scene and make it viable, maybe. Who knows? Maybe that'll happen someday in the right comp. What it does is it makes an allied hero, could be yourself, could be someone else in your team, they are invulnerable for 3 seconds, and it increases their move speed by 20%. I'm trying to think when I've seen this used to great effect, maybe on an Illidan or a Vala, one of the squishier heroes who is also the focus of the enemy team. You could even potentially use this with like an Azebo, and like he casts his Ravenous Spirit. If he's invulnerable, he can't be stunned. That's 3 seconds of free cast time. So there's uses for it, but it's comp dependent, and it's really going to depend on your play style, and it's harder to pull off in pub games. It's a cooldown of 90 seconds, and if we pick it here, you'll see it is a mana cost of 100. So it's big cost, big cooldown. That's the other drawback to it. That's really, I think, why you don't. If it was shorter, if the cooldowns were reversed, you might see it more. But as it stands, it's just a little bit lacking, I guess, compared to Divine Storm, which we're going to show off here. Let's go through the full build. When we get to 10, we'll talk about Divine Storm. First, we've got to level up, of course. And if you don't know how to get into this mode, you just go to the shop. You pick a hero in the shop in the game, and you click try mode. Will be in the bottom left, like down around here. And you can try any hero, you can try any skin. And you can do it any number of times. There's no limit. As many times as you want. And it's really awesome because you can check out new skins. You can try a hero before you buy them, just to make sure there's someone you really want to play. Okay, so we've leveled up to 20. Now, level 1, sometimes you'll see different choices here. I mean, the bottom 3 here, you could all make, maybe you'll see them now and again. Far and away though, Conjurer's Pursuit is the big one here. It's a generic talent. For every regen globe you pick up, for every 3 regen globes you pick up, you increase mana regeneration by 0.25 seconds, and you also get a base 0.5 second boost to your mana regen. He's a support hero. He has a lot of abilities. You're going to be using those abilities a lot to keep your team alive. And more often than not, you're not going to be the focus of the enemy team, so your hit points are going to be kind of high. And what's going to happen is you're going to run out of mana. And that's why the Conjurer's Pursuit is really good. And especially late game, if you can get a lot of regen globes, taking merc camps, clearing waves, you're going to have to be aggressive with that, but you're going to have really good mana regen and be able to get a lot more spells off late game before having to go back to like the well or to base or something of that nature. And that's why we go with Conjurer's Pursuit here. Holy Reach increases the Holy Light range by 2. Dense Weightstone adds 40% more damage to your Hammer of Justice, your stun. And Blessed Champion, you'll heal nearby allies for 25%, but you're not dealing a ton of damage, right? Especially later game, you're not going to deal a ton of damage, and you might not be close enough to your allied heroes to heal them. So it's not going to heal as much as an extra Q or an extra W would. So we pick Conjurer's Pursuit. Level 4, Protective Shield, another generic talent. Activate shield an allied hero. At this case, we're at level 20. It's 885 hit points for 5 seconds. That's a lot. For me, that is just over a fifth of my health pool. For the squishier heroes, it could be over a fourth. And that's a ton of. This is a generic talent. You'll see a lot. Maybe if you don't need the shield, you have a really tanky team. For some reason, you just don't need a shield. You could take Hammer of the Lightbringer. You're going to get basic attacks. Also give you 5 mana. This Fist of Justice isn't bad. Basic attacks reduce the cooldown of the hammer by 1 second. Protect the Weak is more of a push comp. If you're going with an Asmodan Abathur kind of push build, and you use Holy Light on minions and mercenaries, it refunds 75% of the mana and cooldown cost. So that's like, maybe if you're doing this off-the-wall push comp and you want to be, kind of cheesy or cheeky, you can do Protect the Weak. But like I said, Protective Shield's the go-to. If for some reason you don't know that, I would probably try Fist of Justice to get more stuns. That's probably what I would do. But Hammer of the Lightbringer for more mana, like I said, Protective Shield is usually what I go with. Level 7. Okay, we'll go through these from the top. Wave of Light. Each hero healed by Radiance returns 10 mana and reduces the cooldown by 1 second, up to a maximum of 50 mana in 5 seconds. That is gonna make, if you got the maximum out of it, you'd have a 7-second cooldown and a 15 mana cost. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Rebuke is, I think, a terrible talent. Honestly, I would never pick. It knocks the target back. The thing is, usually with a stun, you want to lock someone down and kill them. You don't want to knock them away. And you're not necessarily going to be behind them, like come around behind and knock them back into your team. So, Rebuke I would never take. Wave of Light, there's maybe a case for it. The bottom 3 are generally the go-to. Cleanse is another generic talent. Removes all stuns, roots, silences, slows, any kind of disable for 1 second. It completely cleans somebody. This is useful if you're against a CC lockdown heavy team. You know, you can cleanse someone up. Use this when I had an Illidan on my team, and I've been able to. He gets hooked in by stitches. You cleanse him. He can metamorphosis out of there. You know, it works really well against a lot of CC. Very big talent. It's only a 30-second cooldown. You can cleanse things like the Dragon Knight kick. Pretty cool. Clairvoyance, another generic one, has a cooldown, slightly longer cooldown, 45 seconds, and it reveals an area for 10 seconds. Enemies in that area are revealed for 4 seconds. This is good if you need map vision. The enemy team doesn't have the CC. I would always probably pick Cleanse over Clairvoyance if the other team has CC and Lockdown, like an Arthas Kerrigan, Stitches Uther, Brightwing. But if they don't, you could take Clairvoyance for that map presence. Not bad. And that used to be a cycle between these two on level 7, but the big one lately has been Holy Devotion. This increases your trait. Instead of 50% damage and healing, you get 100% damage and healing. And this can surprise people. You come out of the woods, all of a sudden there's a ghost in your face, and bam, he stuns you, and then he attacks you, and he's doing a ton of damage. Because it's not 50%, it's 100%, and that's 10 seconds. And generally, I'll actually, if I don't need Cleanse, I'll go with Holy Devotion. Is pretty much how I run. I used to take, like I said, Clairvoyance a lot, but I kind of like this. It's up to you, really, what playstyle you want to go with here. But I would recommend Cleanse if they have a lot of CC and Lockdown. Otherwise, play around with these. Maybe you're a big fan of Clairvoyance, or maybe you like Holy Devotion. But like I said, Cleanse is my go-to, and then I pick Holy Devotion if they don't have CC. So we'll show, we can show Cleanse off, I guess, in this case. Now, the other heroic, Divine Storm. This will stun. It deals, at level 20, 575 damage, and you stun nearby enemies for 1.5 seconds. And the radius you can see here, that's the radius. It is just the same. It's a little bit slightly smaller radius than your E. But you can catch multiple heroes, not just one hero, you can catch multiple ones with it. Deals a little bit of damage, great for interrupting things. As Zeratul blinks in, you stun him, and you can chain stun. You'll have 2 stuns now at level 10. So you can really obliterate people with this. Level 13 is a little bit of variation here. Generally, I take Sprint. This is good for engaging. It's 75% move speed boost for 3 seconds. You can use this with your Lockdown, your stuns, to sprint into the enemy team, launch a Hammer of Justice on like a Vala who's strafing, or an Nazebo who's using his Ravenous Spirit, or use the R, the Divine Storm, if you catch multiple heroes with it. Sprint's really good for that. It also can save your butt. Sometimes you need to get out of die. You're just like, you're about to die and you sprint out. You're the old man sprint, they call it. And you get out of there and you survive. So sprint is possible. There's also Shrink Ray has been taken a lot. This works on things like the Dragon Knight and the Garden Terror, and it reduces their damage by 50%. It also reduces move speed by 50% for 4 seconds. Shrink Ray is good. If there's one hero on the enemy team is just wiping you guys out, and it's just one guy that you need to lock down, you might want to take Shrink Ray instead of Sprint. This is more of a playstyle. Try them both, see what you like. I generally go with Sprint, but in situations like on Dragonshire with the Dragon Knight, I'll take Shrink Ray to Shrink Ray that thing, so if they get a Dragon Knight, it's not going to be as troublesome. I wouldn't really recommend Spell Shield because you want Uther to tank the damage versus one of your assassins. You want to be taking the shots from a Nova or a Zeratul. But, if they have like a Zeratul and a Nova and a Falstad, you could make a case for this. It's a bit more niche pick. Burning Rage I would not take, unless maybe you're talent gated and you want to fool around with it. So we'll go with Sprint here. 16, there's a couple choices as well. Hardened Focus is a great one. While you're above 80% life, your basic ability cooldowns regenerate 50% faster. This is really good if you're not getting focused. If you have a tank or two to hide behind, and the enemy team isn't targeting you, you're going to get more. Your cooldowns will be shorter, you'll get more abilities out of this. But if you're getting focused and you're always low health, maybe there isn't a tank and you're the tank, as the melee support, then you don't want to take that at all. Definitely not. Gathering Radiance is similar to Wave of Light here on 7 in that it gets stronger the more targets you hit. The other one, Refunded Mana and cooldowns, this makes it stronger. So it actually increase damage and healing by 5% for each target hit, up to 50%. And that's a big boost. You can see right now we're healing 480. If I got a 50% boost on that, it's another 240 hit points. That's an auto attack from like a Zeratul right there. or a couple auto attacks from some weaker heroes. Really good, and it will affect all of the heroes and minions that you hit with the Wave of Light. So it's not just a single target thing. This isn't bad. If for some reason you don't want to harden focus. And the other thing you can take too is if you're like, especially for the tank, Imposing Presence, it slows attack speeds of anybody attacking you by 50%. So I like running this with Holy Devotion if I'm like the tank, or we have maybe a one-off tank, like we have a Tyrael or a Sonya, somebody who's not really beefy, and I'm going to be tanking with them. I like taking Imposing Presence. It just slows down the enemies attacking me, and then I try and get up in the front, and I have Eternal Devotion, and I'm like, okay, attack me. It's going to take you forever to kill me, and once you kill me, I'm still going to be here in ghost form, able to launch, and use my abilities. Holy Light does what, 50% for you instead of your Q. Instead of healing, you do damage. I don't. Unless you're running a team with like 3 supports and you guys are really low on damage, but you don't need the heals, then maybe take the Holy Shock. I've never seen that happen, but you could potentially take it in a case like that. Otherwise, like I said, hardened focus. If you're in a strong team comp where you're not getting focused at all, and you get a lot out of this. If this isn't as viable, I would look at Imposing Presence or Gathering Radiance, depending on if you need more healing or if you just need a little bit more survivability, and seeing how that goes. And then level 20 used to be Divine Hurricane all the time. This is the heroic upgrade. You get an extra 100% on the radius, and its cooldown's reduced by 20 seconds. It is 75 mana. We didn't talk about this. 75 mana, 70-second cooldown. So that takes it down to a 50-second cooldown. That's ridiculously fast. That's 1 a minute. Well, a little bit faster than that, but that's a lot of Divine Storms. And it takes up the whole screen. We'll show it off. So this is certainly viable, especially if you're ahead. Lately, though, Resurgence has become a lot stronger, especially if you're tanking more, and that's what it stacks well with like Imposing Presence and Eternal Devotion. If you're taking those and you're getting focused down and you're dying, well, then you're gonna. This is pretty much what I take now. Resurgence. As long as Resurgence is this good, you might as well not. You might as well take it. You get that free death basically every 3 minutes. You have a 5-second death timer. Strong late game when death timers are over 50 seconds. Storm Shield is a generic talent, not too bad. It gives 20% max HP back to everybody as shields for 3 seconds. If the other team is very bursty and you're having trouble surviving to deal your damage, you could take this. That would be the one case where I would take Storm Shield. Generally, though, I will take Resurgence, but because this is not something you can show off, we'll take Divine Hurricane here just to show it off. And you can see now the range. Before, the range was slightly smaller than this, the Hammer of Justice, and now it's that. So it's doubled. Pretty awesome, I have to say. And let's toggle on some minions. We'll show off the abilities, and then we're going to jump out of this into a game, do some actual live gameplay. He's a lot of fun. Uther's a lot of fun to play. There's the Holy Light. You want to make sure you catch your minions with that to heal your minion wave and damage the other wave. I come in here, I can land a stun. And then let's see how else can we show him off. We go with sprints, we come in here, and then we stack. There is the Divine Hurricane. Now we're not going to get a kill because he is a tank. I mean, well, we're actually going to get a kill because it's a bot, but it took a minute, didn't it? And then if I heal myself up with the Q, they go like that, and I can throw a shield down. I can come back here. You can see I got healed from that a little bit. And then I can come back in, I can come in here. I've just got so many hit points, you can see at 4,500, that it's okay to tank towers. This is level 20, of course. Early on, you probably don't want to take too many tower shots. But that's how he works pretty much. Cleanse, of course, is a targeted ability. There's nothing really to cleanse, but if you cleanse someone, they'll be cleansed of all of those disables for a second. So, that's how he works. If you have any questions, definitely leave them below. And we're going to show them off in a live setting. Of course, we're going to be doing a lot more guides. Try to get all of them done before the 13th of January and the closed beta begins. So if you like what you see, man, subscribe for more content, of course. As always, like it, share it with your friends and all that. And let me know what you think. If there's something specific you're looking for, be happy to see what I can do to make that happen. Always up to taking requests. Alright, guys. Well, thanks for watching. I'm going to destroy Arthas here and then hop out and into a real game. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys.